Hi Army, I'm Jungkook and I'm on set with Calvin Klein.
Jungkook's return as the main highlight is so monumental, one must consider the scale of his influence. BTS's popularity has always been difficult to measure by traditional metrics. But Jungkook, in particular, embodies a rare kind of global magnetism. His social media presence alone has altered how brands view marketing. When Jungkook wears something even casually at an airport, it sells out in hours. When he fronts a campaign, the brand not only trends online, but also records tangible spikes in revenue. Calvin Klein recognized this power early, but what sets Jungkook apart is his ability to transcend the typical celebrity brand partnership. This is not about a famous face in a glossy ad. Jungkook brings authenticity. Fans do not just see him as a model, they see him as an extension of themselves, a young man navigating style, self-expression, and identity. When he wears Calvin Klein, it does not feel like product placement. It feels like a personal choice, and that authenticity creates loyalty that money cannot buy. The numbers are staggering. Previous Calvin Klein campaigns featuring Jungkook have dominated online conversations globally. Social media impressions climbed into the billions within days of release. Search engines lit up with spikes of Calvin Klein Jungkook queries. Retailers reported near instantaneous sellouts of the exact items he wore. The connection between Jungkook and consumer behavior is direct, immediate, and measurable. This is why his return is not simply a matter of brand marketing, it is an economic event. Calvin Klein has long been known for iconic campaigns. From Kate Moss to Mark Wahlberg, the brand has thrived by placing bold personalities at the center of minimalist but striking visuals. However, Jungkook's arrival and now his return has shifted the narrative into a new era. He is not only representing Calvin Klein's signature denim and underwear, he is embodying the transformation of the brand into something more global, more diverse, and more relevant to younger audiences. In many ways, Jungkook redefines what a Calvin Klein icon looks like. His background as a South Korean artist challenges the traditionally Western-centric face of global fashion. His youth and artistry reflect the desires of a new consumer base that is less concerned with heritage and more focused on authenticity, inclusivity, and cultural resonance. When Calvin Klein puts Jungkook at the forefront, it is making a statement: fashion is no longer bound by geography or tradition. It is about energy, influence, and identity. While much of this story can be analyzed through business and marketing lenses, Jungkook's return as the main highlight carries emotional weight as well. For fans, seeing him step once again into Calvin Klein's world is a reminder of how far he has come from a teenage trainee dreaming of stages to a global figure commanding the fashion spotlight. It evokes pride, nostalgia, and admiration. For Jungkook himself, this partnership symbolizes more than just career expansion. His artistry has always been about evolution, constantly testing boundaries, challenging expectations, and exploring new dimensions of self. Fashion offers him a different canvas, one where his body, image, and presence tell stories beyond music. Calvin Klein, with its raw, stripped-down aesthetic, provides the perfect stage for Jungkook to reveal facets of himself that audiences rarely see. There is intimacy in the imagery, vulnerability in the styling, and strength in the way he carries it all. What makes this return particularly fascinating is how it transcends the usual boundaries of fashion marketing. When Jungkook steps into a Calvin Klein campaign or event, it becomes a cultural event. Social media does not just circulate the images, it dissects them, analyzes them, and creates endless discussions. Fans create edits, commentary videos, and long-form breakdowns. mainstream media picks up the story, often positioning it alongside global entertainment news. It is this ripple effect that makes Jungkook's return so powerful. Calvin Klein is not just gaining visibility, it is securing dominance in cultural conversations. While other brands struggle to maintain relevance in a crowded market, Calvin Klein, through Jungkook, becomes the name everyone talks about. His presence guarantees not just attention, but sustained engagement, a commodity rarer than sales themselves. This return is not the end, but a continuation of a larger narrative. The fashion world knows this is only the beginning of what could be a long-term partnership that redefines the relationship between celebrity and brand. With every new appearance, Jungkook builds momentum, and Calvin Klein deepens its foothold in the cultural imagination. The question now is not whether Jungkook will remain the main highlight, but how far this collaboration can go. Will he front more daring collections? Will he walk in runway shows? Will he inspire capsule lines that bear his influence? The possibilities are vast, and the anticipation surrounding each step ensures that Calvin Klein remains a brand tied to curiosity, excitement, and relevance. In many ways, Jungkook's return as the highlight of Calvin Klein represents the merging of two forces: a brand seeking cultural immortality and an artist embodying global resonance. Together, they are not just shaping fashion, they are shaping the way identity and influence intertwine in the 21st century. Brands across industries have long tried to tap into celebrity appeal. Yet, the Jungkook effect exists on a different scale. When he wears a Calvin Klein denim jacket or appears in black and white promotional shots, the imagery does not fade after a week. Instead, it enters the bloodstream of internet culture, where memes, fan art, and commentary circulate endlessly. His campaigns become reference points, images that define an era. Marketing experts often note that Calvin Klein's return to cultural relevance in the 2020s is inextricably tied to Jungkook's involvement. Without him, the brand risked being seen as a heritage label struggling to maintain its youthful energy. With him, it has been reborn as a leader in modern aesthetics, still minimalist, but now infused with a global vibrancy that no other face could provide. This is why his re-entry as the highlight is so strategic. It tells the industry that Calvin Klein is not finished capitalizing on the energy Jungkook brings. They are not content with a single viral campaign. They are building continuity, making him a recurring narrative that sustains attention and reinforces brand loyalty. Another reason Jungkook's return is monumental lies in how it demonstrates the symbiosis between music stardom and fashion influence. Traditionally, music artists have worn fashion brands. Some even collaborated on capsule lines. But Jungkook represents something bigger: the complete merging of two industries into one identity. When Jungkook appears in Calvin Klein, fans do not just see a fashion campaign, they hear the echoes of his music, his performances, and his artistry. The visual and the sonic blend into a holistic brand experience. It is not unusual for fan-made edits of Calvin Klein campaigns to be set against BTS tracks or Jungkook's solo work, further reinforcing this crossover. For Calvin Klein, this blurring of boundaries is invaluable. It allows them to market not only to fashion enthusiasts, but also to music fans who may have never previously considered engaging with the brand. Suddenly, the walls between industries dissolve, and Calvin Klein exists in the same space as Spotify playlists, TikTok dances, and YouTube live streams. Historically, fashion icons were concentrated in the West. From Paris to New York, the industry often looked inward, celebrating models, actors, and musicians rooted in European or American traditions. Jungkook's central role in Calvin Klein challenges this dominance in a way that cannot be ignored. His prominence represents the globalization of fashion in its truest form. Here is a South Korean artist who speaks primarily in Korean, who rose to fame through music rather than runway modeling, yet who now embodies the face of a quintessentially Western fashion house. His existence in this role redraws the map of fashion influence. It tells the world that icons are no longer geographically bound. They are digitally constructed, globally shared, and culturally embraced across continents. This shift is particularly significant in Asia, where consumers have long supported luxury brands, but rarely saw themselves represented at the highest levels of campaigns. Jungkook's role validates the region's importance, acknowledging that influence flows not only from west to east, but also the other way around. Part of the magnetic pull of Jungkook in Calvin Klein comes from the emotional connection his fans feel. To them, he is not an untouchable figure living in a distant world of celebrity. He is someone they have watched grow. From his teenage years as a trainee to his evolution into a soloist and global ambassador, every step of his journey has been shared publicly. This shared journey makes his success in fashion deeply personal for his fanbase. When Jungkook stands in Calvin Klein's spotlight, fans feel as though they are standing with him. His campaigns are not just ads. They are milestones in a collective story. That emotional layer is what transforms his role from celebrity endorsement to cultural event. It also explains why his campaigns receive such intense engagement online. Fans are not only admiring the aesthetics, they are celebrating the symbolic weight of the moment. Each Calvin Klein appearance becomes proof of how far he has come and how far they have come alongside him. Of course, behind the emotional resonance lies hard business reality. Jungkook's campaigns have directly impacted Calvin Klein's bottom line. Retail analysts consistently report sales surges linked to his promotional cycles. A simple pair of jeans, once featured in a campaign photo, can see a dramatic spike in sales globally. This direct correlation between Jungkook's presence and consumer behavior is rare and powerful. Most celebrity endorsements increase visibility, but few drive such immediate and measurable results. For Calvin Klein, the return on investment is undeniable, which explains why his return as the main highlight feels inevitable. But what is even more striking is how sustainable this effect seems to be. Rather than fading after a few cycles, his influence appears to grow stronger. Each campaign builds upon the last, creating continuity that ensures Calvin Klein's relevance not just in the short term, but in the long run. Jungkook's impact does not end with Calvin Klein's official imagery. Once the campaigns are released, they take on a life of their own. Social media platforms explode with conversations, edits, and reinterpretations. His photos are transformed into digital art, projected into fan-made documentaries, and even analyzed in academic discussions about cultural globalization. This ripple effect is not something Calvin Klein can manufacture alone. It arises from the unique relationship Jungkook has with his fans and the global audience. By putting him at the center, Calvin Klein ensures that their campaigns live far beyond traditional marketing lifespans. They enter the realm of culture, where their relevance endures through constant reinvention by fans and media alike.